What's good, everyone? Sure here, bringing you guys one of my deck profiles. The deck we're going to be profiling today is my Felgrand deck. So for those of you who get triggered easily, yes, this is a casual deck. Yes, it's not the most meta of decks, and yes, I have included some odd card choices because I do enjoy playing this game on a fun scale. But obviously, if you guys don't like that, you can replace the fun cards with whatever you guys see fit. Like for example, I'm playing some odd level 8 choices. If you guys want to replace that choice with like Dragon Spirit of White, that's fine. So without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. So first of all, we play 3 copies of the boss monster, the monster that makes this deck good, Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand. So he's a level 8 dragon. If you don't know what he does, when he's summoned, he banishes a monster your opponent controls in their graveyard. Then he gains attack points equal to that monster's rank / level times 100. So if he banishes a rank 4, he gains 400 attack points. And then when he destroys your opponent's monster by battle, he gets to special summon a level 7 or 8 dragon type monster from your graveyard. And the only target for that effect we have is Archbrave Dragon, because you can't bring back yourself with that effect. But that's fine, because summoning Archbrave Dragon is good because he can banish like your opponent's face up floodgates or their continuous spells in the True Draco matchup, or like their field spells and stuff. So Archbrave Dragon is a really good card in this format. So overall, in my opinion, Felgrand is a really good card. Being able to have that DD Crow-like effect where you can banish like a Rapier or banish a Masterpiece when they try and bring it back off True King's Return or something like that. Overall, in my opinion, it's a really solid card, and it is kind of underrated because the best level 8 dragon deck is Blue Eyes, and nobody gave this card much thought except it was kind of a replacement for Alternative before he came out. But the minute Alternative came out, this card was cut from the main deck. And people do seem to use Archbeard Dragon more for the Goliath lock, and nobody gives this card enough credit, in my opinion, because it is a really good card, this format. So here's one of the more odd choices, the level 8 I was talking about at the beginning of the video, and it's 3 copies of Dark Magician of Chaos. Now you guys may be thinking, but he's not a level 7 or 8 dragon type monster, so you can't bring him back off Return of the Dragon Lords. And I say that's fine. He's a trading target, and I wanted to play like at least 6 level 8s because I did want to play trading to just make sure we didn't brick a lot of the time. And he's a really solid choice because you want to get back like your copies of Trade-In and your copies of other spells from your graveyard to your hand. And even though you can't bring him back off Return of the Dragon Lords, we do have a lot of revival in this deck. So in my opinion, it's still fine to play 3 copies of this, even if you can't bring it back off Return of the Dragon Lords. Plus, most of the time, the cards you're going to be bringing back off Return of the Dragon Lords are Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand. So a lot of the time, even if you did play other level 7 or 8 Dragon type monsters, you'd much rather bring back Felgrand than them. So it doesn't really cause too many problems. Plus the fact that when it destroys a opponent's monster by battle, it banishes it is really strong, because you can banish copies of like Dryden and Broadball and banish like their Dynamite Knight, so they can't bring that back off Return. And if you banish like their Broadball or something, they can't bring it off Chikanine, which is that Zodiac monster, the next turn. Or even if you banish like their like Whiptail, if they leave it on the field, or Furrow Blade or something, that's always good to stop it being brought back by Tiger Water. So Dark Magician of Chaos is overall a solid card. If you don't like it, obviously you can replace it with Dragon Spirit of White. But there's one thing I want to like say. Basically, the only other level 8 dragon that's good and generic is Dragon Spirit of White, which banishes spells and traps. Whereas, even though that is good, a lot of the spells and traps nowadays are face up. Like, people will still play Solemn Strike and Dimensional Barrier, but because of the True Draco deck right now, face up spells and traps are dominating the meta, because there's like Dragonic Diagram as well. So playing Archbrave Dragon, in my opinion, is as much spell and trap removal as you need. So overall, I believe that you don't even need Dragon Spirit of White, because Archbrave Dragon's enough removal. Plus, if you don't want to play 3 copies of Dragon Spirit of White, because you don't need to. But then I've seen other profiles where they play cards like Light and Darkness Dragon and like the Dragoonity Dragon, and I just think they're kind of niche, and I'd much rather play Dark Magician of Chaos because it does have a lot of synergy with adding back the spells and traps. You can even just spells. You can even add back Return of the Dragon Lords, because a lot of the time they can't destroy your dragons, and Return of the Dragon Lord stays in the graveyard because you don't need to use its protection effect. So overall, Dark Magician of Chaos is a solid card. If you guys want to cut it, please do. But I really like playing this card. It's just a really solid card and helps the deck out a lot. And then for the level 7s, we have, only level 7 to be honest, Archbrave Dragon. So if you guys don't know what Archbrave Dragon does, he banishes all face spells and traps when he's summoned and gains 200 for each. So obviously, like I've said so many times, banish Diagrams, banish Returns, banish Apocalypse, banish Heritage, banish Disciples, banish whichever face up, banish like Decrees or any face up Floodgates, if you know what I mean. And with Arcbrave Dragon's other effect is this card. This effect is what gives it extreme synergy with Future Fusion, which we do play one copy of. If Future Fusion was to come back to free, I think this deck would be really viable. But with Arcbrave Dragon, if he's in the graveyard and was sent their last turn, during the standby phase, you can bring back a level 7 or 8 Dragon type monster from your graveyard except itself. So that's really good because you can bring back your Felgrand in your opponent's turn, and if you send it off Future Fusion and like you send 3 Arcbraves, you already have one Felgrand in the graveyard, and you send 2 more off of the Future Fusion, then you can bring back all 3 and get a triple banish, which is obviously amazing. So overall, Arcbrave is a solid card. Is one of the cards that enables the deck to do a load of their plays. It has extreme synergy with Dragon's Ravine, which I'll explain later on. But overall, this card is really good and does allow the deck to function. And then for the level 4s, here's one of the more controversial choices again. It's 3 copies of Dragon Knight of Creation. It's controversial because a lot of people don't like this card because his effect is you discard a card, send it to the graveyard, and then bring back a level 7 or 8 Dragon type monster. But the issue with this is the cost is to discard and send. So if you discard, then send, and then they Solemn Strike it, you lose a lot of advantage. But in my opinion, it's worth the risk because obviously with Solemn Strike at free, they're not going to have it all the time. Plus, they want to save their Solemn Strike for cards like a Felgrand and stuff, and other more powerful cards. So a lot of the time, they won't Solemn Strike this. So even though it is a risk you have to take because this card is necessary, and its other effect is really strong. Where a lot of the time they'll want to use their Dryden Pop on like your Felgrand or something because that's the thing that's putting like the pressure on board. But with Dragon Knight of Creation, it says when he draws an opponent's monster by battle, he gets to send a level 7 or 8 Dragon type monster to the graveyard. So obviously that's really strong because if you have a Felgrand in the graveyard, you can just send your Arcbrave and then Arcbrave will bring back your Felgrand next turn for a banish. So I definitely think this card is necessary at free. Plus another good synergy it has is with Ruins of the Dragon Lords, which I'll also explain later on. And then the better level 4 of the deck is Paladin of Felgrand. I would have liked it for this card to be the super rare, but what can you do? A Paladin of Felgrand says when he's normal summon, you get to equip a level 7 or 8 Dragon type monster from your deck to him. Really sorry about the voice, I'm having issues. So you get to equip a level 7 or 8 Dragon type monster to him, and then you can send him and another monster to the graveyard to target a level 7 or 8 Dragon type monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So obviously that's really good because you can get your level 7 or 8 Dragon type monsters easily from your deck. And he's much better than Guardian of Felgrand because Guardian of Felgrand doesn't get it from the deck. And you can essentially play 4 copies because we are playing 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army. So there's also another combo it has with Ruins of the Dragon Lords, which I'll also explain later on. So the next card is, going into the spells, we have Return of the Dragon Lords. Now Return of the Dragon Lords is a really good card. If you guys don't know what it does, then you've probably been living under a rock for a while. Once again, I'm going to apologise for the voice because I really don't know what's going on right now. I'm just like really wheezy voice for some reason. But I'm still going to bring you guys these videos because you guys support my channel. I don't want to leave you hanging. So Return of the Dragon Lords, if you don't know what it does, you've been living under a rock because this is the card that essentially won Blue Eyes Worlds because it's a better monster reborn for the deck. It lets you target a level 7 or 8 dragon in the graveyard, special summon it, and then it provides a protection effect by banishing itself from the graveyard. And you can use this on multiple dragon type monsters. So for example, if you have like 2 copies of Felgrand on the field and your opponent activates a Regeki, then you can banish this and save both of the Felgrand. So it's obviously really strong. So you have to play 3 copies of this. It's your monster reborn of the deck. It's the card that makes the deck run. And then for the combo card, people don't like this card. I love this card, Ruins of the Dragon Lords, 3 copies. So if you don't know what Ruins does, it lets you send up a face-up card on your field to the graveyard to special summon a token. And then if you control a level 7 8 dragon type monster, every time you want to special summon except from the graveyard, then you can negate its effects. So if they summon a Broadbow while you have like a Felgrand on the field, you get to negate Broadbow's effects and then he can't even get a search. So this card is really strong against the Zodiac matchup. Plus if they summon their Dryden, Ruins will activate. They can chain their Dryden, but it makes them chain their Dryden and not use it later on better cards. So it's really good. And here's the combo. It has two different synergies with the level 4s. So the first one is the more simpler one, Dragon Knight of Creation. So if you have a Dragon Active Creation on the field, Dragon Active Creation turns to level 8 in your opponent's turn. So if you just like normal summon Dragon Active Creation plus activate Ruins, then because Dragon Active Creation counts as a level 8 in your opponent's turn, Ruin still gets its floodgate effect to negate your opponent's monsters that are special summon except from the graveyard. So that's a really nice thing that they've included, that he counts as level 8, just to make sure you'll always have a level 8 on the field for Ruin's effect to be at full power. And then the other better one is with Paladin and Felgrand. So what you do is, I'll show you the combo, so let's just move them 1 minute. So what you do is you normal summon Paladin, then you equip it with an Archbrave or Felgrand. In this case, we'll probably get Felgrand because it's the better one to special summon. Then you activate Ruins of the Dragon Lords. You send Felgrand to the graveyard, and you get yourself a Dragon Lord token. So there's a Dragon Lord token. Then you use Paladin's effect, tribute these two off, and get your Felgrand back, and then Felgrand banishes something. So essentially, that's a 2-card Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand. Plus Ruins level 8 a Floodgate effect will be intact. So overall, I really think that combo's solid, and I really do enjoy pulling off that combo, because even though it's not the strongest play compared to like 1-card combos like Zodiac Barrage plusing you so much, it's still a really cool thing, and it is pretty surprising when your opponent figures out what you've just done. So overall, that's why I choose to play 3 copies of Ruins of the Dragon Lords. So let's just, for the next choice, we have triple copies of Trade-In. Trade-In is pretty self-explanatory. You just dig through your deck, discard your Dark Magician of Chaoses, and discard your Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand. So obviously 3 copies of Trade-In. Then we play 3 copies of Clashing Souls. This is one of the more fun choices, but it's actually amazing. It's essentially kind of a better Mirror Force. So obviously you guys are going to be pretty surprised with what I mean by this, but I'll show you what it does. So basically it's pretty complicated. I'll just read the whole effect. Joint damage calculation. If your attack position monster battles an opponent's attack position monster with higher attack, the controller of the battling monster with lower attack can pay 500 life points for that monster to gain 500 attack during the damage calculation only. Then keep repeating this effect until the player chooses not to pay life points. Neither player takes any battle damage from that battle. Also, after damage calculation, if any player's monster would be destroyed by that battle, send all cards that player controls to the graveyard instead. So not only does it destroy all their monsters, it destroys all their spells and traps as well. So if you guys don't really know what this means by this, I'll explain it in way of like card play. So basically, if you have a monster on the field with equal life points to your opponent, but your monster has a minimum of 1,000 attack more, so obviously against like Paladin against Felgrand. So Paladin has 1,700, Felgrand has 2,800. So you activate Clashing Souls, your opponent has to pay 1,000 life points if they want to make it higher, so then you keep on paying life points, and eventually your monster will have higher attack points because your opponent paid 1,000 life points in the beginning, making their life points less than yours. So then their monster will eventually be destroyed, and if they chose to go through the full effect, which they normally won't, they normally just say, okay, I'm not going to pay any life points, you get to send all my cards to the graveyard, because obviously you want to save their life points. So you'll send all their cards to the graveyard because your monster has more than 1,000 attack points and you guys have equal life points. And the other time you can activate it is when you have less life points, but your monster has, when your monster has 500 or less. 500 or less, yeah, basically. So I'll bring up an Archbrave Dragon. Archbrave Dragon. No, you want to activate this when you have more life points. You have to have 500 more life points than your opponent, at least. Or even you have to have 500 more life points than your opponent. So what Archbrave Dragon has more. So you activate Clashing Souls, you pay 500, so now you have equal life points. So you guys will keep on paying 500, but eventually you'll be the last one to pay 500, so your monster will have more attack points, and then your opponent's monster will have the least attack points, so it will destroy all cards your opponent controls. Not even destroy. The fact that it sends all cards to the graveyard, so it can get rid of cards like Lunalight Leo Dancer, because it doesn't target, it doesn't destroy. Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, and like if Masterpiece is immune to isn't immune to spell cards, then it can send him to the graveyard as well. So the fact that it can send all cards your opponent controls to the graveyard, and it's really easy to use because all you have to do is activate it when you have the same amount of life points, and your monster either has 500 less attack points or 1,000 more attack points. So the fact that it's so easy to use and it can potentially send all cards your opponent controls to the graveyard is really strong. So that's why we play 3 copies of this. Obviously, you guys can cut it but I personally believe that's really necessary in this deck. And if you guys didn't really understand my explanation for it, then please post in the comment section down below, because I'd be more than happy to explain it in a word format. So here, and then let's move on to the other cards in the deck. So we play 2 copies of Dragon Ravine and 1 copy of Terraforming. We play 1 copy of Terraforming just to essentially play 3 copies. It's really annoying that Dragon Ravine is still at 2 in the TCG. I don't know why it's at 2, because it's a 100% fair card. You just pitch 1, send 1. And the way you play Dragon Ravine is, all you need to do is have like an Archbrave Dragon or even a Felgrand. So you activate your Ravine, discard the Archbrave, and send the Felgrand. And then what happens is Archbrave will bring that Felgrand next turn. It works the other way around. You can discard the Felgrand, send the Archbrave. So the fact that Dragon Ravine plus 1 of these is an instant Felgrand is really strong. So obviously you want to play Dragon Ravine just to get your dragons in the graveyard as quickly as possible. And then we play for the one-offs, we just play 4 of them. And they're all limited cards. These 4. Foolish Burial to obviously easily send your dragons, that's pretty self-explanatory. Reinforcement for Paladin, just so you essentially play 4 copies. Future Fusion, because as I said, you can send 3 Archbraves, 2 Felgrands, and then if you have another Felgrand in the graveyard, that's 3 Felgrands plus 3 banishes. Plus, if it does resolve, you get 5-headed dragon, so really strong. And then Soul Charge to bring back like 2 free Felgrands or Archbraves and get all their effects. Because it's a revival deck and you jump a load of stuff in the graveyard, Soul Charge is pretty easy to figure out why this card is in this deck. And then for the traps, we only play 6, and I'm pretty sure you guys can guess which cards they are. We played the Revival 6, which Tellarknights decided to play, which is 3 Oasis of Dragon Souls and 3 Call of the Haunted. I really don't need to explain this, because the way this works is that if you have a Dark Magician of Chaos, or if you have a Archbrave Dragon or Felgrand Dragon, then you can use this to bring back your Archbrave or Felgrand, and then or your Dark Magician of Chaos, then get their effects. You can do it in your opponent's turn, so it provides disruption for, like, if they summon a Broad Ball, you can instantly go Call of the Haunted, Felgrand banish something, and then they can't get their search off Broad Ball. So it provides some disruption for the deck, and that's why I choose to not play like any reactive traps, rather than because this can help you with your plays and it can act as disruption. So overall, you have to play these 6 cards. I would definitely not recommend cutting these down. I definitely think you need 3 Oasis and 3 Call of the Haunted. Now for the extra deck, as I've said before, I still really need to pick up my over level 8, so rank 8, so it's not the most optimal thing as possible, but it's fine because this deck barely ever goes into the extra deck. You really rely on just summoning your Felgrand and winning from there. But obviously you can still go into the extra deck. So 1 copy of 5-headed dragon for Future Fusion, just to send your 5 dragons. Then for the rank 8s that you normally go into, which is the Galaxy Eyes package, so you summon Tachyon, put full armor on top, pop a card, then Dark Matter can send 3 dragon type monsters. So the 3 dragons you play are 1 Dragon Knight you'll send to the graveyard, Dragon Knight of Creation, 1 Felgrand and 1 Archbrave, and then you'll get all their Archbrave's effects to special summon something. Plus it's a 4000 beta that can attack twice on monsters, so obviously if you're ever going to rank 8, this is probably the best thing to go. That's why like other rank 8s aren't even necessary. You could just like get away with playing these four cards in the extra deck, and the deck would still be more than playable. For other rank 8s, this is literally like what I have. 2 Guidance Sea Castrum, banishes stuff from the extra deck and destroys your opponent's extra deck monsters. You'll never go into 2, I just put them in there because I have them and I don't have any other rank 8s. I just need to wait to get my Hope Harbinger, Divine Dragon, Night Felgrand and Alcei, which I really do need to pick up, but obviously I haven't got the funds to pick that up right now. Red Eyes Flare and Titanic Moth to summon by overlaying 2 Archbrave Dragon. This can come up a lot. You barely ever summon this. And then for rank 4s, because we do play 6 level 4s, they don't come up that much, but just generic ones. Abyss Dweller, Castell, 2 Dark Rebellion, Malevolent Sin, Carnagoran, and Gaga Cowboy. Most of the time, you're just going to be summoning a Castello Dweller to spin something back on the gate stuff in the graveyard. So this has been, and then the last thing is just the token, because we need it to summon off Ruin. So this has been my Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand deck profile. Seems to be my longest video so far, nearly hitting 20 minutes. So if you guys like the video, please thumbs it up. If you guys have any other card choices that I could possibly use to make this deck better, then please tell me in the comment section down below. Like, comment, subscribe. This has been Shurit. Peace.